What's up, everybody? All right, so today we are talking mainly for what's to come this box office for the summer of 2025. And today should be fun. We're just going to be predicting of what might happen at the box office. As always, hit that subscribe, share the video, and let's get into it. All right, so let's just get straight to the point. Look, it's crazy with the way that things are going right now with this movie industry and everything that has to do, with the box office and whatnot. But it's very interesting where things are heading right now. Look, this whole industry with the movie business is all down the drain, and it's very hard to find a good movie out there. And the good movies are probably, hard to find, if it's a new IP or if it's a new film or whatever it is. But looking at how things are right now with all these movies that are around the corner, we are literally, like about to kick off summer next month in June. At the time of this recording, today is May 10th, 2025. So with that being said, look, let's look at some numbers, and mainly let's look at what this trajectory is probably going to be in the month of July, because of course we're getting ready for all these films, and the marketing and everything has already kicked off for all of these movies. Now, first things first, kicking off the summer is going to be Jurassic World Rebirth. That is an established IP. This is going to be the seventh installment to that franchise. And honestly, I'm excited. I can't wait. There's a lot of, like leaks with the toys, and that's pretty dope what we're going to see. And, if you don't want to see leaks, just stay off the internet, honestly. I actually go and search for leaks just because I want to be prepared for what's to come and what to expect and stuff like that. And it's just awesome to see what Jurassic World is setting up. And even though we don't have a full official trailer, just the teaser trailer right now is awesome, and that's something that I guess is something new, this year that a lot of movies are starting to do with teaser trailers. They're not even dropping a full trailer yet. And to be honest with you, I'm good with that. I like that. I have no problem with that. And that's something new and different. And it should stay like that because it doesn't reveal too much. Sometimes these trailers can ruin things accidentally. And of course, we know the merchandise and things that are starting to pop out for whatever brand, that can also leak out. So just start avoiding the internet if you don't really want to be out there and see all these rumors and spoilers and whatever and stuff like that. But Jurassic World Rebirth is going to be on its own. I'm predicting that it's going to make over $1 billion. That movie's established. They've already have a solid foundation, and it's going a different route. And I like that. I don't oppose it. I like that. We need that change and that type of entertainment because with the way that things are, like it's just something different that we need, and I'm down with that. A lot of people might not be down with that with Jurassic World Rebirth and the route that they're going, but I think that that's actually it's good. It's good for business, honestly. And now let's talk about Superman. Wow, Superman. Okay, this is a we all know that Superman is very controversial right now. It doesn't matter what side you're on, and it's just when you hear the word and the name of Superman, like everybody's going at it, like it's crazy. The fandom is so divided, but this is what the studio has done. I don't expect and I don't think Superman with James Gunn is going to make much at the box office. And I would be surprised if they do, but not the way that things are heading right now. And I'll tell you why. The world, I mean, the way that that it's just it's crazy. It's completely crazy. We've all called it and we saw it like months before they even announced, the schedule and stuff like that for the movies that are going to come out. You know, and of course, right around the corner we have Fantastic Four. I mean, Fantastic Four is introducing the X-Men, and it's opening the door finally because we already know that Marvel is already in that next phase and stuff like that, and especially with Thunderbolts. With now that they're changing the name to the New Avengers, if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna say how it is. The spoilers at the end, they finally introduced the X-Men. And it's just setting up, in that end credit scene of what's to come because we already know that this is all going to lead to Doomsday, and is going to lead to Secret Wars because they're gonna go all out with it. And again, like I'm just focusing on these three brands right now: Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, Fantastic Four, and we're gonna just keep within this bubble. Why? Because this is what we are all looking forward to. All right, I get it. We're not looking forward to Superman. And like I said, we're going to get into all that. And I'm going to kind of like try to break it down as much as I can. But, again, this is all just predictions and speculation at this moment and stuff like that. For sure, no, we are going to keep our wallets closed. Yes, we want Man of Steel. That's what's gonna. I'll talk about that also in a few. Yeah, it's gonna make much more less, honestly. And yeah, I agree with you. Jurassic World is gonna win, honestly. You know, let's be real. 7 movies. This is $1 billion franchise we're talking about. Much love and support to Universal because they've been knocking it out the park with Jurassic World and that brand. That IP is huge. It's already established. Is fully built on a solid foundation, and people are excited for it. Who doesn't like dinosaurs? I mean, you have people of all ages. It just doesn't appeal to kids. We're talking about like people all over the world and stuff like that. Dinosaurs are always going to be a hit, regardless. People are interested. They like that, and it's never going to be out of style. The same like with superheroes. Now, talking about Superman, all right, Jurassic World Rebirth is going to start off and kick off the summer strong. I'm telling y'all, because remember, it's gonna come out during 4th of July weekend. Everybody's gonna go to the theaters. People are gonna be bored. They're gonna be out. They're gonna want to go see these movies, and they're just gonna be like, "Let's go watch Jurassic World." So they have the head start, honestly. And then the week after is going to be Superman. Superman, people are gonna go see it, but just not enough people. That's the difference. Remember, we're kicking off the summer. We're already in the summertime. All right, this is the middle of summer when everybody's out there spending money and just spending money. Honestly, they just want entertainment. They just want to have fun and all that stuff. Yeah, I know the Smurfs are out there too. I forgot about them too, but that's another movie we could throw into the mix too. I mean, that's a family movie. I don't see them making that much money, but I think they are going to outperform Superman. And that's what I'm thinking, honestly. That would be something interesting. And, look, real talk, honestly, Jurassic World Rebirth is going to take the number one spot. They're going to own the box office this year with over $1 billion. Superman, if they make back their budget, it's still going to be a flop, honestly. And we already know majority of the people are tired. They're going to skip that movie, and they're going to continue to keep the wallets closed. And then the week after, of course, Superman is going again to be shadowed because everybody's going to be ready for Fantastic Four. We already know as the MCU, they're established. It's a set IP, and what they're setting up and what they're doing is just it's Disney. It's what they do. It's the MCU. It's opening a much larger door, and they're just gonna make money. Honestly, and the Fantastic Four is going to make a lot of money because it's setting up already towards Doomsday of 2024, and then of course leading into Secret Wars later and stuff like that. So it is what it is. But yeah, after Endgame, they should have learned into the mature and supernatural characters like Midnight Suns, Marvel Knights, Ghost Rider, Blade, Punisher, Werewolf by Night, etc. Yeah, that's true. But that's what I think they're going to be heading with now with this next phase and things like that. And I guess they're kind of correcting themselves because look at what they're doing with Thunderbolts and changing the name and stuff. That's what I mean by. Now another thing too. This is another thing I really really want to emphasize. Like I said, I'm trying to stay to these three films, and of course, I know somebody mentioned the Smurfs, but the main thing that I'm trying to focus is on two of these movies have something in common, and one of them doesn't. From what we've been hearing, mainly with these three films, I'm focusing right now. Jurassic World Rebirth is separate on what I'm about to say right now, because Superman shares something in common with Fantastic Four. You probably know where I'm heading, but I'm going to say it. All right. Yeah, your comments are here. I see your comments. I'm going down the list and stuff like that. Just bear with me. Um, Jurassic World Rebirth, they filmed the movie and they did what they had to do. Notice what I'm about to say. Superman and Fantastic Four, both, right? Both of them have been doing reshoots. When you have a studio going back and they do reshoots, that means that there's trouble. That means that something is sus. Something is up. We didn't hear about that with Jurassic World Rebirth. We didn't hear about, oh, they're going back and they're adding and they're reshooting and this and that. No. And if they did, they kept it on the low. Superman, on the other hand, we've already heard it multiple times by multiple sources that they're filming and reshooting it. Something is up. They're working on something because they know it's not working to whatever audience they're trying to show it to. The same thing with Fantastic Four. We've been hearing a lot of people saying it too, that they're reshooting. Why would they be reshooting? They're not confident. I mean, we're literally like less than 3 months away. And now it's even less. We're probably like in 60 something days. It's nearly impossible. It could be pulled to like do reshoots and do last minute touches and stuff like that. But what's done is done. That's it. However the movie comes out, that's exactly what they brought this upon themselves, whether it's successful or not. You know, and we didn't hear anything about Jurassic World Rebirth doing reshoots and retakes. We heard that about Superman, and we heard the same thing with Fantastic Four. So could you be adding things or taking out things? It could be a possibility. The point is that right there are red flags, because it's showing you that they're adding or taking away. And when those leaks come out, meaning like when a lot of people are talking about it, hey, they're going back to re-edit or they're reshooting and stuff like that, that means they're trying to correct a lot of mistakes. And when you're close already to like your big day is approaching, that's it. Like you want to reshoot now, last minute, that's completely bad. Let's not forget, all right? Let's not forget that that's what happened with The Flush back when they released it, all right? Remember that movie was on hold and it was backed up for a while, and the pandemic slowed it down, but they kept on doing reshoots and reshoots. When you do that to a movie, you're pretty much saying, hey, we need to add this because we're not fully confident. If you're fully confident, you'll do like Zack Snyder, like he said, just film and get everything all at once. So then later you have extra footage and you go back in the studio and you could pull from. We already know that James Gunn isn't about that. We know that Superman is not going to have that. And we already know that the studio is already talking about, from the rumors that are coming out, that they've cut already like 30 minutes away from Superman, 20 to 30 minutes. And that's already again a bad sign. This shows you that the studios are not confident themselves. And when you have that happening, I'm telling you, it's not going to work well for these films in the end. And I'm telling you, it's gonna be interesting. It's going to be interesting at the box office this year. I know people might disagree with me, but I have a feeling both Superman and Fantastic Four won't do well. Yeah, they're not. They're not. But Fantastic Four is going to outperform Superman. That's for sure. But Fantastic Four will not outperform Jurassic World Rebirth. That's for sure. That's something that we have to accept, because a lot of people said Dominion sucked, and it did, but it still made $1 billion. That's the point. It made $1 billion. So in the end, numbers talk. I think the dinosaurs will destroy everyone. Who knows what's gonna happen? Remember, this is Jurassic World. All these dinosaurs are all over the world, and I'm excited to see that. And of course, seeing the monsters is not just one. Now they have two monsters, and apparently some other surprises that are going to be out there in that movie. And that D Rex, he's the main villain. One of them, that toy has already leaked, and I'm telling you right now, that's straight up. I think that's the first version of that monster. I think it's gonna mutate into something different, and I'm excited for that. I know some fans are like, "Damn, they've gotten away from what Jurassic Park used to be." This is not Jurassic Park anymore. This is Jurassic World. Jurassic Park literally was done at Fallen Kingdom when they destroyed the island of the original Jurassic Park. To me, that's like the studio saying, "Hey, look, we're fully done with it, and we're moving away from it." Good. I like that. I have no problem with that as a fan. No matter if Superman Legacy wins at the box office, DC is still in shambles with James Gunn, which I knew he is a bad hire for DC. He was never a fan of DC or comic books IPs in general. Yeah, I agree with you, Kenneth. He look, he was the Trojan horse, and that's exactly who he is. in the end, James Gunn is gonna go crawling back to Marvel so that they can do added Secret Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy. You'll see. I beat what? I beat all of the studios are doing the stream heat. What? The stream hack hate. We should do the same to them. Yeah, I guess. All right. I cannot wait for. I close my wallet, not spend money for super trash. Yeah, a lot of people are honestly feeling the same way. You're starting to see now a lot of James Gunn fans starting to even criticize and doubt this movie. That is bad. I'm telling you, when you have the James Gunn fans also denying and doubting and worried about this movie, this is not going to end well. I'm telling you. We will see July 11. Come July 11, we will see it. T-Rex will destroy Soy Boy Legacy and Feminized 4. Yeah, I'm telling you. The number one's going to be Jurassic World Rebirth. Number two is going to be Fantastic Four. I don't think Superman's going to make it. Honestly, it's not even gonna. It's probably gonna make some money, but it's not gonna make enough money. Honestly. All right, what up, bro? Our boy Strong Arm Flicks came back last night. Yeah, I saw. That was good. That's what we need. We need more people to start standing up and honestly, like saying it how it's supposed to be. And that's what we do. Hopefully, more things come from that. So Strong Arm, keep it up. If you out there, hit me up. Let's link up again. You already know. All right, so Jurassic World Rebirth. Hopefully, Blade's coming back. Going to be released in November 7th, 2025. Blade is a disaster right now. Honestly, like nobody knows what the hell's going on with Blade. Like that movie has been canceled, paused, delayed, and everything. But who knows? Who knows? Honestly, let's see what happens with that. Love Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, yeah. It. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, Jurassic World is gonna be woke." No, it's not. There's no type of message whatsoever hinting at that, honestly. Now, Superman, on the other hand, we know for sure that movie's going to be focused and be all about Lois Lane. She's going to be the main star, not Superman. I'm guaranteeing you that. And you'll see. You'll see. Come July, we will all find out. But yeah, seeing Scarlett Johansson, yeah, that's pretty badass seeing her, from what we've seen so far with the trailer and things. Well, the teasers and things. I'm excited, honestly. I have no high expectations for Fantastic Four, but I'd rather see what Fantastic Four first steps than James Gunn's Superman. A Superman movie we didn't ask for or wanted either. Yeah, that's true. Nobody wanted this reboot, and this reboot is going to backfire. The way that things are going with this studio, I'm telling you, it's just not working. And Superman, Superman's not going to save, the studio. And the same thing with James Gunn. They're just not. Honestly, how do you feel when Sega are paying DC under the Gunn's leadership? I mean, it's all politics and it's all money. Honestly, that's something that no matter what we try to do and try to voice our opinions, and nothing's gonna change. It's just showbiz. It's dirty Hollywood and it's dirty politics. That's how this industry runs. All we have to do is speak with our wallets. That's it. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that, and you know, it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. Come July. So we will see what's gonna happen with that. Sean, what up? What up? Appreciate y'all for watching. Everybody's tuning in. Today we're just talking about mainly Jurassic World, Superman, and Fantastic Four. Look, let's be real. Fantastic Four is just paving the way and it's going to connect, the MCU into what they've been trying to do for years and it's finally here. Who would have thought, right? It's been crazy how like I'm honored to be around and still be alive and see how everything started with the MCU with Iron Man and everything pretty much ended at Endgame and how is finally setting up things to introduce us within time because we're going to see it when we're seeing the Avengers are going to go at it with the X-Men because it's going to happen. That's going to be the next big phase for Marvel and stuff like that. And we have to admit it, and accept it. That's what they're doing. And, no salt towards that, let them do their thing, And but this whole reboot with James Gunn and seeing, with Peacemaker, it's completely ridiculous, like I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I just like I was just watching right before I came on this live stream. I was watching The Flush. They have it on Tubi, so anybody that's interested and you want to watch it for free, now's your chance. And here we go again with WB trying to promote also Justice League because that one's also on Tubi. But the point is, watching The Flash, I started thinking about something. Most of that movie, I've only seen like a hour of it, and I'm like, this movie is kind of hard to get through, and you can see clearly that James Gunn had a lot of influence on this movie. You can see that yes, this is an Andy Muschietti, movie that he filmed and stuff like that. But I can clearly see the notes James Gunn giving to Andy Muschietti and saying, "Hey, add this, do this, take away this. Oh, we should put this in it." And of course, Andy Muschietti just agreed and said, "All right, whatever. I'm getting paid, so who cares?" And that's why they're doing that. And it's kind of ridiculous because I'm gonna tell y'all straight up, the Flush is a preview of what we're going to see with James Gunn's Superman come July. Mark my words, I'm telling you, that's exactly what we're going to see. Remember, there's a reason why James Gunn was like, "Oh, that's the best superhero movie that I've seen," and he was praising it and stuff like that. And look at how bad that movie tanked. And like I'm telling you, I'm not going to tell you yet until after Superman releases, once it flops and it tanks, why? And it's not about the marketing. It has nothing to do with that. There's something bigger. But again, I won't share that with y'all until after the movie is released. And then I'll be able to say, this is the reason why it performed bad at the box office. And I can't wait. I can't wait to share that with y'all because a lot of people are looking, but nobody's talking about it. And it's crazy. And I can't wait to put that out there so everybody can see why that movie tanked when it does at the box office. It's crazy how some people actually think that Superman is going to make $1 billion. The James Gunn fans actually think that it's going to surpass that. But we already know that it's not. Because look, first you have Jurassic World Rebirth. Everybody's going to go watch that. People are going to be out, they're going to be spending money everywhere. Not only that, think about this. Jurassic World has the ride at Universal Studios. So if you're going to Universal Studios, boom, the marketing on its own is being thrown to your face. All right. Besides them advertising the movie, they have that. We already know that Mattel's putting out the new toys and all the merchandise and stuff like that. That on its own is also creating a lot more attention. Now, what do we see with Superman? Their marketing is horrible. Honestly, it's really horrible. But at this point, they have to do what they have to do. But it's too late. There's no saving them anymore. It's done. Like whatever they're doing from now until July 11, that's it. They have to accept whatever comes from it. Whether it succeeds, which we know it's not going to happen, we know it's going to tank, honestly. And it's not about the marketing towards the movie. Like I said, it's a bigger thing that takes place, but we'll talk about that later. I mean, at another time. Fantastic Four, of course, that's Marvel and Disney. These are established IPs. Fantastic Four is just like Jurassic World, except Fantastic Four under the MCU has been around longer, and they too put out good movies. Now, am I saying that Fantastic Four is going to be the best and it's going to be the number one? No. I'm just saying that it's going to be a movie that people are going to enjoy for the summer. And you're going to have people from all ages. And not only that, it's already been established, it's been connected. And you can't say the same thing with Superman. A lot of people are like, I'm not feeling this Superman. I'm not liking it. The trailer doesn't convince me. So you have more people talking bad about Superman and it's not even out. And people are saying it everywhere. They're like, I'm gonna pass this movie. They're like, I'll watch it when it goes up, on streaming and things like that. And this movie is going to take the crown as the fastest movie, meaning Superman, that's gonna go straight to streaming. Because when Joker 2 came out, under the whole month, before the month, they were already on streaming with Max or whatever they were playing it at. And Superman, I'm telling you right now, this movie is going to go straight to streaming within the first 2 weeks once it releases. So it's gonna beat the record of Joker 2. And remember when everybody was praising Joker 2? Oh, the Joker 2 is gonna be making $1 billion. It's gonna surpass the first one. Blah blah blah. And then once they announced Lady Gaga, I told y'all I was like, that movie's going to tank. And a lot of people made fun of me. A lot of people were like, oh, you're so delusional, you're so this, and blah, blah, blah. And what happened at the box office? It tanked. It tanked bad, you know? So, with that being said, what do you think, awaits James Gunn's Superman? Most of the fans don't care about it. And the little handful of fans that support and are down with James Gunn is not gonna save him. It's not. It's just too late to try to get them to win at the box office. It's just too much. They can't compete. Superman with James Gunn cannot compete against Jurassic World Rebirth, and it can't compete against Fantastic Four. It's literally in the middle of those two films. Everything is against Superman. The fans, the marketing, the merchandise, the advertisements, and you have two colossal films, one starting and one ending, literally, back to back. People are gonna be like, all right, July, we're gonna go watch Jurassic World Rebirth. Oh, what's next? Superman? Nah, I'll just save my money so I can go and see Fantastic Four. And that's what they're gonna be doing. They're just gonna skip, and Superman's gonna get shadowed by both movies. Honestly, it's just like the meme that we seen with the girl on the couch, the famous white couch, and then the dudes that are around her. That's exactly what this is going to be. You got Jurassic World and you got Fantastic Four. Hell, even Smurfs are going to make probably more money than Superman, And I get it. Some of the James Gunn fans are probably salty about that and they can't accept it. But that's the reality. That Superman ain't gonna make that money. They're not. It's gonna cost them a lot of money. The studio's gonna have to learn, honestly. It's really gonna have to learn the hard way. But again, this is what they've brought to themselves. You didn't have to do what you did with the cast and everything that was still what Zack Snyder had. And James Gunn chose that. He pressed that button and he opened the door to all this madness. And this is pretty much his multiverse of madness, if you want to say. And look, right now, it's completely done. It's done. They have to accept it. That movie is going to do terrible at the box office. Now, if that movie does well, let's just speculate. I'm just speculating, right? So some of the James Gunn fans don't be like, oh, well, you're always so negative towards it, and you always say that it's gonna, flop and this and that. Let's just look at the other side. If it does perform good or better, and it performs like what Minecraft did, I'm telling you right now, capital WTF. That's what I have to say. But I'll acknowledge it and I'll say, hey, look, all right, you guys made money. But that still doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't, all right? Because WB was not saved with Barbie, and that made $1 billion. WB was not saved with Dune. That made the money. I get it. It didn't make them $1 billion, but it still made the money. And all these movies, Minecraft. Minecraft is about to reach $1 billion. And I think it's already ending their run. They're like in the high 800 millions or something like that. So that's good. That's good. I was once saying that movie was going to tank. And whatever, they make money from it. Okay, good. Congrats to them. But that's still not saving them. Look at where they're at right now. Look at how low the stocks are. Telling you, a lot of things are hurting this company. And that's just them on that division. That's completely just that with Superman. And you can see it. You can clearly see it. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. And I, for one, I'm ready. I'm ready to see what's gonna come at the box office. And I know you are too. And everybody's waiting to see what's gonna happen. That everybody's trying to go after that 1 billion. But the question is, do they have the product to reach 1 billion? You know, that's the question. I get it. This Jurassic World is a new route that they're going, and some fans are like divided. Also, they're like, "Oh, I'm not feeling it." I am. I'm ready to watch that. I wish it came out already next week. I'm ready to go see it like that, you know? And you know, the people that are saying, "Oh, that Superman's going to make $1 billion," the delusion is high, like completely high on them, thinking that it's going to make that money. It has to make over $1 billion for it to be a success. And now they're trying to claim that it's okay if it makes like the budget back. So you're gonna make your budget back. What about the money for marketing? What about the money you spent on, everything else? That doesn't matter, right? They always come up with an excuse. Honestly, it, it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. Yeah, it won't make it won't make 300 million. That's yeah. I know that it's not going to make the movie, but there's people that are like, oh, you don't ever give them a chance and this and that. There, I just gave you the chance. Peacemaker's not convincing. What else you want me to say? Creature Commandos is not. It's just not appealing. A lot of people are not watching it, and they want to create these fake numbers where people are going to be like, "Oh yeah, people are loving it." No, it's not. We know what's up. We know. We see it. We see through them. And WB is going backwards. Yeah, they always take 3 steps back and they take one forward. And yeah, that whole thing with Lady Gaga. They spend their budget. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna bring in Lady Gaga and we're gonna make all this money." Nah, it didn't work. It didn't completely work. Superman doesn't need to make a billion to be a hit. Oh, now it doesn't have to be a billion. Freaking clowns always have an excuse. Now it doesn't have to make a billion. Apart from the online gun bots, nobody cares about the Superman movie. Yeah, exactly, and that's what I'm trying to like state. Like nobody cares about it. And everybody's gonna be watching at Jurassic World, and they're gonna be watching Fantastic Four. They're gonna be skipping Superman. And WB has allowed this with James Gunn. This is when they wanted. This is what they wanted, and this is what they're gonna get. Oh yeah, we already know that movie's gonna leak. I'm telling you straight up, that movie's going to leak once they release it. And let's not forget also, keep in mind, China's not going to release any of these movies because of that whole ban that they're trying to do with Hollywood and stuff like that. So that's gonna hurt all these movies. Now, this is a moment and a chance for all of these films to redeem themselves. All of these studios, you don't need a China release. I'm gonna be real with you. That's just being greedy. So you can keep all the max profit here in the States, and you don't have to share with any other third party in another country. So now is the time for Hollywood to show their true potential and what they could do here in the States, within the States, Because if China doesn't allow Jurassic World, Superman, and Fantastic Four, the odds are high against them. But that doesn't matter because now it's the fans that are going to come out and say, all right, we're going to go watch this one. And then it's going to be the battle of the three. We already know that Jurassic World is going to make high numbers. Superman is not going to top it. It's not even going to get on their level. And Fantastic Four is going to make money because, of course, it's the MCU. So that's what's going to happen. My next movies are Mission Impossible. Yeah, it's another one too. It's going to be good. Jurassic Park and Fantastic Four. Yeah, it's gonna be a good summer. Honestly, there's a lot of good movies coming out besides Superman. It's like hell. I'd rather go watch the Smurfs instead of Superman. Honestly, that that tells you a lot. It's yeah, that whole thing with James Gunn. He just loves the poop fetish and all that sickening stuff, and it's gonna be wild with that. So this movie's gonna be spoiled online day one. Yeah, for sure. Because remember, apparently it's gonna come out in Japan first. I think 2 days before it actually releases in the states. So yeah, that's gonna be for sure all over online. So we will see what's gonna happen and stuff like that. Let me see. The most extreme gun goons thing super shit will be Avatar. Yeah, it's too much, honestly. With them. I hope the Zach will reboot Sonic. That way he can go back to being a dark, mature, and adult direction like he was in the old concepts. All right, yeah, but you got to remember when it comes to Sega and all that, that doesn't sell. Like unfortunately, the video games won't sell, and they have to make money. So I mean, it is what it is when it comes to that part with the gaming industry. So does Snyder Justice League 2 and 3 help WB and their stock? Yeah, look at where their stocks are at, you know? To all the people that say, "Oh, well, you know, Zach doesn't help and he doesn't contribute to the stocks." The hell he does, because Rebel Moon's over at Netflix and they're banking. So, and they're in the high thousands and those stocks keep going up. And when it drops, it only drops a little bit. So they're still in the high thousands. And WB, where they're at, $8, $9. Ridiculous completely. Even Marvel movies are not doing that well. Comic book fatigue is a real thing. Yeah, it is. It is. I agree with you. People are tired of these movies. Yeah, completely. People are exhausted of them. Have you seen the Snyder cameo in the studio? It's great. Yeah, I saw it. That was actually good. I like how he made fun of himself. Saying that he's gonna do a Snyder cut of whatever it was he was talking about, and he was, I'm just joking. That was pretty dope. Like that's pretty cool. Like I like that Zach has a sense of humor, and he doesn't take himself too serious, and he's a down to earth type of guy. I would love to do an interview with him and talk with him. That would be pretty chill and stuff like that. If it don't make a billion, then what's the point of all this? Exactly. Look, I don't even have words to say with that. If it doesn't make a billion, I mean, they screwed up. The studio screwed up, and they think that by bringing in James Gunn, that's the solution. But that's not going to be the solution. The word is James Gunn is dissing the Snyder Cut in Superman, which I believe because Gunn is so jealous and envious of Zack and his DC universe. Gunn's a hack. Yeah, I know there's a rumor that's going around with that, and again, that's not helping this movie straight up. But this is what he chose, and in the end, he's gonna have to, literally pay the price. And unfortunately for WB, it's gonna have to be again at the box office because we're gonna keep our wallets closed. Do you think Superman has to be Aquaman's 1.1 billion in order to be a success? Yeah, it has to. At this point, yeah, because remember, Aquaman, even though, all right, hear me out, even though it's already part of the Hamadaverse, we have to also acknowledge because remember Walter Hamada, it was under his production and whatever. But this is where the big buck comes in because remember, James Wan was consulting Zack Snyder with what Zack had originally planned for Aquaman. All James Wan did was add his touch, make it unique, make it different, and boom, we have a $1 billion franchise. So, it was good, and you can clearly see the difference, because Snyder was involved in that. And in part two of Aquaman, Zach is not involved at all. And look at how bad that movie did. And let's not forget, James Gunn gave notes again to James Wan. So what does that tell you? And look at how that movie turned out. A complete mess. It was a joke. Yeah, straight to Tubi, just like the flush. Yeah, most of these movies should all go straight, literally to like to streaming. It's pretty bad, honestly. Nobody's talking about how to Train Your Dragon. It's gonna rule the box office until Jurassic Park. Yeah, I mean that's another movie that families are gonna go out and watch and stuff like that. But mainly, what I want to just focus on this chat for today is just these three films because that's what's coming up, and to be honest, that's like the main big highlights right now. For the kickoff of these films and stuff like that. And I get it, the Train the Dragon, people are gonna watch that. How is it going to do at the box office? I have no idea, but I know it's a family movie, I guess. So people are gonna go and watch it and stuff like that. So let's see. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? Will you ask Zach if he has his vision of Sonic? Because I want to know. If I was able to get an interview with him, I would. I mean, I wouldn't. Why not? Why not? I would ask him. Um, even the most avid Snyder, even the most avid Snyder versus haters want to see Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill back. Yeah, that's true. I've been seeing that on the internet. I don't know if it's on Twitter where I saw it that people are even saying that. Now, another thing too that you just said, adding to something that I came across today, is that now the fans seeing that I guess that dirty, scuffed, torn down, boot, quote unquote, looking suit of Superman with James Gunn, they're like, oh, they're praising it. They're like, oh, it looks much better now. Hold on. I thought y'all liked it all colorful and bright, and all of a sudden now it's torn down, brute, badass looking, and that's what we got with Zack Snyder. So now they're praising the whole darkness, like in the sense that it's more brute and stuff like that. I'm like, they just come up with so many excuses, that's how they are. I'm thinking Superman has to be Aquaman to be considered a success, because how can it be called a success if it can't even beat a secondary DCU character's box office? Yeah, exactly. It has to outperform Aquaman with that 1.1 billion in order for it to be a success. Remember, every time it's higher and higher the bar. So who doesn't want to see Nightmare Batman? Just imagine Mad Max Batman. That would be sick, honestly. Completely, completely would be. Am I the what? Am I the stock analysis of Snyder community? No, I'm just calling it how it is, straight up. Just stay salty, and you know that your James Gunn's DCU with Superman's going to flop. Accept it. All right. To be honest, the Flash, like the Batman, is not the Flash movie people wanted to see, and Gunn made sure to sabotage the film. He is doing with the Batman too. Yeah, that's what James Gunn is doing. He's completely destroying everything. That's why I call him the Trojan horse since day one. And all he's been doing is completely just like pissing all over the place. You have big knowledge about stocks. You must be big investor. Not that I'm a big investor, but um, I, I mean, I run a business, so like on the side and stuff like that. So I do know about when it comes to what to invest and what to spend and things like that. So, I have my background, on some basic stuff. So, but not like crazy like Wall Street things. That's a whole different ball game. All right, Leo is okay responding. All right. I honestly don't care about Sega anymore. I hope they will lose the rights to Sonic or just stop using him because they are doing a lot of wrong with him. I mean, Sega owns Sonic. It's like that. They're not gonna let it go. That's their baby, honestly. So that's their IP. Unfortunately, it's like sometimes it's not even the studio's fault. It's the people that they have inside that's completely doing the mistakes and stuff like that. So yeah, it could be that could be happening. I don't know. These so-called fans don't have any brand loyalty. Yeah, they don't. They just jump ship and go to whatever they feel that is what's best for them and stuff like that. I think Zach can make his Sonic work by adding him in his DCU to give him a proper DC collab. Also make his Sonic a dark, mature, and adult character, and give him Sally back. I'm not sure about the whole thing with Sonic coming into his DCU. I mean, that's a whole different thing. You're talking about that's a video game IP, and DC's a comic book. It could happen in the comics, but not in like live action. I mean, it wouldn't make sense. Like, why would they even do that? From now that you keep mentioning Sonic, apparently the next Sonic, this might be a spoiler, but if you don't want to listen, it's all good. But apparently the next Sonic is going to be setting up along with the next Mario, the Super Mario Bros. 2, the movie that's going to be setting up Smash Brothers. So apparently Amy is going to be like we saw at the end, that she's going to go through some type of portal or whatever, and it's going to be leading and connecting the whole thing so they can go with the Smash type of movie that they're trying to build off and stuff like that. That would be dope, though, honestly. But again, that's just speculation. I don't know if that's true for sure. James Gunn is finishing with Joss Whedon started. Yeah, yeah, he is. He's completely passing, the completely the torch, and he's like, go ahead, continue. Yeah, for sure. That's why, like I said, this is the final blow for this company, and where where they're at right now. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen. I still would like to know what's the first movie in the DCU. Yeah, I mean, originally wasn't it supposed to be Blue Beetle, but then that tanked, and then what it was supposed to be next, I think Creature Commandos. I don't know. It's just a complete mess of what it's all become. So who knows what the hell is going on with all of that at the studio? Seriously, completely a mess. But this is what they wanted. Sonic has nothing to do with the Snyderverse. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I get it. Some fans want that maybe, but yeah, it's completely different. Um, yeah, this is it's pretty interesting. It's interesting where things are heading and where things are going. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? And from here on out, I mean, anything is possible, honestly. Did you see Until Dawn 2025? Yeah, I saw when they were starting to film it, but I haven't seen it yet. It's already out. I haven't heard anything about it. I know they finished production like a few months ago, so I don't know when that's coming out. I know I've played the game. It was all right. But yeah, I mean, hopefully it's good. Hopefully it is, but we'll see. One person who really sabotaged Zack Snyder and the DC is Jeff Johns, and I don't know how badly he did Zack and ruined plans for DC to be a real cinematic universe. Yeah, look, honestly, Jeff Johns, he's an asshole. Honestly, he completely did everything, the impossible for Zach to completely, be humiliated and to like destroy everything that he built. But you know, we had to keep on fighting, and with that whole rumor, like I said, I posted that video. I thank everybody for watching it, and with the whole thing with Comcast coming into play, a lot of things are going to be shifting. You're going to be seeing a lot of things changing slowly as they continue to go, and to move into until 2026. So it's going to be interesting. The next few months are going to be interesting. The DCU has no chance. These executives will be blacklisted. Yeah, for sure. It's just a matter of time with them and things like that. I think Superman does not need to earn 1 billion if it made more than 600 million. I think James Gunn DCU continue. James Gunn is a joke. His DCU is a joke, and his everything he puts out is a joke. Honestly, I'm not interested with James Gunn. We need Sonic versus Mario movie with the clear finish that Sonic wins. That would be dope. That would be honest. That would kind of like go back like with the console wars from back in the 90s. That would be nuts. Sega versus Nintendo. Oh, that would be nice. Not working live action, bro. I will help Zach to make it work in live action. All right, cool. Nice. All right. If you like horror movies, you'll probably like Until Dawn. Yeah, I know it's a horror game, so I played it. It's kind of pretty creepy, but yeah, for what it was, like it was good. Let's see. Hopefully the movie is too. Jeff Johns also ruined Ben Affleck's epic Batman movie script and kept delaying it. Yeah, that's why I said Jeff Johns. Like he's an asshole. But yeah, and now look at how everything is going with Matt Reeves and the Batman, because honestly, it's a complete mess. And I don't see the Batman 2 ever seeing daylight. You know, at this point, I don't really see it, because the way that James Gunn is trying to do what James Gunn wants to do, he wants to have his Batman brave and bold, and he's going to prevent everything possible from Matt Reeves to do his thing. And it wouldn't make sense also to have Matt Reeves not be the director to what he started, the Batman. And then he's going to be the script writer. I mean, what? Like, hell no, honestly, like that would just be stupid, honestly. At this point it would just be completely dumb. Yeah, also Matt Reeves took ideas from Ben Affleck's movie. Yeah, he did. He actually did. He had the opportunity to work with Ben Affleck and he said no. He turned it down. Because I'm starting to think that probably he was influenced by James Gunn and all these little goons over there at WB. Oh, if you do it, then we're gonna be against you and this and that. So he just felt, to peer pressure, and he just said, screw it, let's just go with somebody else. But look at how everything is happening for them. And I'm glad, honestly, I'm glad. Like Joker said, you get what you freaking deserve, and he got it. Like I'm glad. I hope they cancel the Batman too. That's where I stand at, honestly. Yeah, I don't feel bad for that universe, honestly. You know, hopefully they do cancel that and just again, once everything James Gunn. I'm telling y'all, look, it's just not a coincidence with this whole thing with Comcast. That's why I made that video yesterday. Trying to break out those speculations and things like that. Once James Gunn's Superman tanks at the box office, the studio's going to have to consider themselves and say, what the hell do we do next? It didn't work with James Gunn, and he's from Marvel. What do we do? Exactly. It didn't work with Joss Whedon. That should have been a big red flag telling you, hey, stop hiring people from Marvel and look for other talent. But they brought this upon themselves. And I'm starting to think there's a lot of friends within WB that are buddy buddies and they're BFFs, and they're all like, hey, look, this is my BFF, Joss Whedon. This is my best friend, what's his name, James Gunn. Oh, they all work at Marvel. Oh, who cares? Bring in new talent. Go to somebody different. It doesn't have to always be the same people. Why does it have to be from only Marvel and Disney? Like they completely had to just go a different route. But sometimes studios want to do what they want to do and it doesn't work. And this is where they're at. Honestly, that's why I'm glad that Netflix is crushing the streaming service. They're winning. Those stocks are over $1,000 a share. You know how insane that is with today's economy? Hell, that's crazy. Huge success. Huge. And that's them doing it themselves. So damn well that Max with WB are like, damn, I wish we were making that money, with our own platform. You have a damn platform and you're not using it. You don't use it. What the hell? Tubi has more entertaining movies than what we have on HBO Max. And that's Tubi. You see Tubi originals. They are crushing it. That's insane, you know? And WB, it's just they don't have guidance. They need somebody with balls at WB. Hell, they need to hire me. Let me do the job. I'll start cleaning house on day one. Shit, before I even come in, I'll be cleaning house at WB. I'll be like, yeah, bring me the records from all these people. You're fired. You're fired. You're replaced. You're cool. You stay. But all of y'all get out of here. Straight up. You have to do it. You really have to do it. I'll be like, look at our stocks. Look at how long these stocks have been running for years. This hasn't happened for like weeks. This is years we're talking about. What the hell's happening? But they're doing it. They're allowing it. And that's why they are where they are, losing money. They have no money left. And the little bit of money that they have to literally play around with it so they can be able to flip it, invest it, and hopefully make back profit. The only way that WB can redeem themselves and make money is literally restore the Snyderverse on HBO Max and put everything on there. Man of Steel 2, Cyborg, the proper Flash movie, the air cut. You have to put all these things out there, and you'll see how immediately your stocks will start going up. Honestly, just make the announcement. The only way to really find out is if you do it. You have to try it. That's it. I guarantee you, WB, if you weren't punks and you would just say, you know what, let's just for the hell of it, go on our social media and just type in or do a survey. Just do a survey, like a little poll, a 24-hour poll, and be like, you guys want the Snyderverse restored? And you will see how that poll will outperform. That you'll see a lot of people say, yeah, telling you. But the only difference is that WB are too chicken shit that they can't do it because they scared. They're scared of Rotten Tomatoes. They're scared of what Rotten Tomatoes is going to say. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care about them, honestly. Like straight up, like, yo, who the hell's Rotten Tomatoes? They ain't nobody. Oh, but they're scared of them. Oh, we can't because Rotten Tomatoes is gonna give us a bad criticism. Who cares? Wipe your ass with Rotten Tomatoes. I know I do. I don't care. And that's what that is. These movie industry need to have guts. They need to have balls. It's like Joker said in The Dark Knight. What happened? I mean, did your balls fall off? That's exactly what happened to WB. They were always dark. They were always badass. They were always brute. But then, oh, we have whatever generation. Oh no, that's too dark, and my feelings are getting hurt because Batman's beating that goon's face that he's a criminal, but he has to feed his family, so Batman shouldn't do that. He should justify it. Let him steal and let him do whatever he want. Hell no, nah. Beat his face into a pulp straight up. That's what I want to see. I want to see Batman beating these goons like he's supposed to, right in the Batmobile. Like going all out, going ham, like what we saw in the Snyderverse. Michael Keaton's Batman did that. So what the hell? It's like, come on, man. It's like it has to. It has to be badass like that. It's that's what I like about what Heath Ledger's Joker. He called it how it was, and it's true. The same thing with the hospital scene. You all remember, and he was like, oh, when I talk about with a gangbanger, nobody panics. When I talk about this, nobody panics. But when I say I'm gonna do this one little thing, everybody panics and everybody loses their mind. That's the same thing with this. If I talk about James Gunn, nobody's gonna criticize. Everybody's gonna be okay. If I talk about let's praise this and let's make it colorful and let's make it bright, nobody's gonna panic. But let me say restore the Snyderverse, everybody loses their mind. Let me say release the air cut, everybody loses their mind. See what I'm saying? It's the same thing. That applies to this also. It's crazy, but it's true. You know how many people be on social media talking so much smack They even come on here in the comments. You see them. I have to filter that and clean it because, oh no, damn, you're not. In other words, this is how I take the James Gunn shills. To me, that's what they are. They're all shills. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you straight up, like in WWE with Generation X. You don't like it? I got two words for you. Suck it. Straight up, suck it. You need somebody like me to tell you the facts, to tell you how it is. But people don't like that. People are too scared because why? Oh no, my feelings. Oh, I'm sensitive. Like that's your problem, not mine. I'm gonna call it how it is. And in the end, when you don't cater to your fans and your audience and you give them what they want, all you're gonna do is just lose money. You're gonna lose fans. Look at where the fandom is right now. All because again, DC wants to be like Marvel. Has the Marvel formula worked for you, WB? Hell no, it hasn't worked, and it's not going to work. Nothing is going to work with the Marvel formula. That's not even working for them. So all of a sudden now you want to turn Superman into this light-hearted character, and you want to straight up make Lois Lane that she's the main center of attention. You want to bring everybody into a Superman movie, right? Without building anything, let's just throw everybody in there. Let's cram everybody into a Superman movie. Let's have everybody besides Superman, but with a Superman title. Makes no sense. And this is what we're heading into. That's why I can't wait. July 11th, everything is going to determine. That's what I'm telling y'all. Keep those digital and physical wallets closed. You use Apple Pay, you use whatever Samsung Pay, whatever the hell you use to pay. Digital, oh, I pay with my phone because I'm a new gen, right? That's how I work, right? I use my tap to pay. Keep that shit closed. Oh no, but I use a real wallet, with my card and stuff or cash. Keep that shit closed too. Straight up, that's all. We have to do that. Come July, the whole month of July, it has to be closed extra tight towards Superman. It's about sending a message. That's exactly what Joker said. I'm just quoting and repeating what WB put out there. Isn't that what Joker said when they were burning the money? It's not about the money, it's about sending a message. And that's exactly what this, it's not about Superman, it's not about James Gunn, it's about sending a message. And the message is towards WB. Look, for all this time we've been supporting you, but you haven't given us the Snyderverse. Again, that's where it all falls under that umbrella. No Snyderverse, no money. Plain and simple. That's it. And we will continue to keep our wallets closed. But this is all the time that I have for today. Again, I enjoyed talking with y'all, chatting it up, and this is always interesting. Like I said, they're going to keep on trying to lie to us and say one thing or the other. Don't fall for the lies. There's another rumor going around now. I don't know, it's probably somebody trolling, but they're like, oh, apparently James Gunn is in the work to bring in Gal Gadot to do a Wonder Woman for his DCU. Bullshit. He's just saying that because he's trying to use clickbait again. Don't fall for it, my friends. Don't fall for the lies of James Gunn. Every time James Gunn says something, remember, always keep in mind, it's the opposite. When James Gunn said that Crypto is not going to talk in the movie, he's just trying to tell you Crypto is going to talk in the movie. I guarantee you by the end of the movie, or probably at the end credit scene of Superman, watch, you will see Crypto the dog talk. I'm telling you, because that's what James Gunn does. All he does is lie, lie, and lie. But again, come July, we will see where the true fans are at. All these DCU fans, oh, I run with Gunn. Oh, really? Really? We will see on July 11 how you run with Gunn. You're going to run with Gunn straight to the ground, along with all those flops. Because this is what James Gunn does, you know? And Supergirl next year, yeah, you might as well start putting that on a tax write-off. Because honestly, yeah, it's not gonna see daylight, honestly. They're gonna do the treatment like they did with Batgirl. And this whole thing with, with, like I'm telling y'all, with Comcast, they're watching, they're listening, and don't think that they're not there taking notes. They know what the hell fans want, and they know what they don't want. They're pretty clear about that, and they have the money. Remember, Comcast owns Universal. Universal has Christopher Nolan. Could something be cooking up in the background? I'll save that one for the next video. But yeah, I want to thank y'all for watching, for tuning in, all that good stuff. I truly appreciate each and every one of you, wherever you are around the world. Y'all stay safe. chances are tomorrow night I'll come back on and we'll do another live stream and we'll talk about some other things, but within the same topic. As always, y'all stay safe. Enjoy your evening, morning, wherever you are. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Appreciate it. Stay safe. Peace.